So is it on? Press hold to record. Is it on?
I suppose so. I really cannot tell with Instagram whether things are on. Did you just hit
Hold
this
on,
little thing?
I think y'all on the wrong thing. I think this is like to upload to the actual thing.
Okay. So.
There you go.
Oh, okay. You got to do it like the Facebook thing, like a little.
All right, so that was live. You want me to go live on this one too?
Yes, please. Go ahead. We can get started.
You got live on
Instagram
Facebook. We doing Instagram.
Instagram now.
Hi everyone.
I know. Can you see? It's
Hi
looking
everyone.
very dark.
There we go.
Okay, there we are.
There we go.
Okay.
All right.
So anyway, so now I can't tell you about my idea. We'll talk about when it's not around everybody else. But hey everybody.
Yes, we know.
I'm okay. Scoot. Hey everybody, we're just about to get started. We're waiting for one more person. Chuck had to use the little boys' room, so we're about to get started on our Dealing with Temptations Roundtable Discussion. And LaShonda Smith is here. I'm going to give her, I did say your name right. Yeah. I'm going to give her 2 seconds. LaShonda, what are you doing? Anything you want the people to know?
Yes, hey everybody. I have a empowerment corner where I basically just teach people how to grow their business, quit their 9-to-5 job so that they can pursue whatever it is that they're trying to do. But then also just empowering people and inspiring people. So
yeah, so I'm actually going to, I'm going to actually sit on this side. I'm going to sit on this side. And Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just waiting for one more person. But when she comes, we can get on it. So, okay, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I just want to say, well, we started this just so that on a Friday night, we can have some discussion, we can have some talking, real talk about things that singles are facing, questions. And some of the questions we have tonight are we're building up to a trivia night, where it's actually going to be a much bigger event. She's so excited because it was her idea. Trivia night for the singles, dating trivia, relationship trivia. And it's going to be a lot of fun because there's no real wrong answer. You just pick the answer and we do a little discussion. So some of that you're going to start hearing in here tonight. But the reason we wanted to talk about dealing with worldly temptation is when you go to church, you hear, don't do this, don't do that, God loves you, have a great life. But in the midst of something happening, in the midst of a relationship, in the office, okay, in your home late at night, 2 a.m., whatever, what are the things you might get faced with? Did you need glasses?
Go.
The things you might be faced with, you got to talk about it. And the more you talk about it, get some answers, get some things, get some encouragement, bless you, get some support from somebody who says, oh yeah, I dealt with that. Oh yeah, oh my goodness, that happened to you too. Then you begin to feel like, okay, you're growing in your strength, in your resolve to be able to walk this Christ-like walk. So that's where the idea came, just to, let's be real about some of the temptations. We act like we don't, you get saved and what happens, right? Nobody ever asks you out again, right? Except the one, right? The Boaz. That doesn't happen. You get asked out by snakes and good guys and people who just don't have nothing better to do and booty calls. You get all of that still. How do you deal with it? And if you're ready with some answers, with some things in your heart and in your mind, you're more prepared. So anyway, we can jump right in. We're waiting on Nicole, and you took my glasses, so you go ahead and read. I mean, if you want to start at the top.
If you like the trivia idea, thumbs up.
I know, right?
Thumbs or hearts.
Let's see some thumbs up and hearts. Yeah. We haven't done a date. We haven't got a date for it yet, or the venue yet. We're not sure, but it's actually not going to be in our home. We're actually going to take this out. And we're also working on, Greg, did you want to talk about this? Because this is new for a roundtable discussion. Because it was his idea.
We're going to do catering. So we're promoting
sponsors.
A lot of caterers around Charlotte. So when we have a roundtable discussion and they'll bring food around, they'll basically distribute appetizers, soul food, things of that nature. To where you could get not only filled with the spirit, but filled with your belly.
You know me, I'm a foodie. So this is like, he came up with this idea and I just went cuckoo. I was like, yes, we can support our food businesses. We can support our food entrepreneurs. We can do things and bring that as well as a part of the roundtable discussion, because it is all about you.
And it will be reasonable. I know you go to these clubs. When you go to the clubs, think about it. You spend $20, $10 or $20 to get in, right? Off top of you, especially if you come past 11 o'clock, you're gonna spend a good $15 to $20. Then you go in there, you're gonna want beer. You're going to want alcohol beverages, that's another $20.
Yep.
You know, then you'll want some wings, that's another $15. So by the end of the night, you're going to spend a good $70 to $80, you know, that Friday night. And you're probably going to want to go back out Saturday. So with these plates, they're going to be no more than $5 to $10.
$5 to $10. We're trying to keep it.
We're keeping it budgetable. And you know, we ask for $5 depending on the plates because we really don't want you to spend your money. We know you work hard, and you can give it to us. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, we know you work hard, right? And we know that you got families. Some of you got families. Some of you got things to do. Some of you want to pay your tithes in church.
Hello.
You know, so. You know, we don't want to take away from what you're doing.
So, and it's going to be a lot of different, it could be wings one night, it could be whatever. If we actually get to the point where we have some plates, if we actually get to the point of having some plates, you won't take the glasses from me. You know, we'll let you know in advance. So-and-so is catering. This is our catering sponsor, and they're doing plates, and the plates are $7, and this is what you get for your $7. So when you get here, there's a plate waiting for you. There's something waiting for you. So you don't even have to stop now, you know, and this way we support our businesses as well as provide you with something and you can enjoy yourself. So, somebody's coming. Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Hey guys.
So we got a male figure in the building. We got some men showing up today. So
you know what? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I don't mind being off camera because I might just be camera. He's like, you don't want to do it. We're doing musical chairs here as everybody's trying to find a spot. And we're still waiting for one more person.
No, we could possibly.
No, we're going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and get started. When she comes in, we'll just, you know, but you're going to get up and we'll take these glasses.
Go, but if you can't read them without the glasses.
I'm just showing my questions. But anyway, thank you. I don't even know his name is. Trey. I'm sorry, what? Oh, he letting them off.
Shonda actually did.
Yeah, you did? Okay, we'll get you later.
Where'd it go?
I don't know.
But anyway,
that's
go ahead. Show must go on.
This is live.
Live. Scripted, undirected.
We got a motion here. But anyway, go ahead with the question.
Okay. So these are questions dealing with real life temptations or things that might come up. Okay, you're over a friend's house. And it could be a new friend. You really don't know the person that well. And other people come over. And they all start to turn up. What do you do? What do you do? I mean, literally, you know, maybe they don't even know how deep your walk with Christ is yet. Maybe they just met you at the job. Hey, come on over Friday. I'm not doing anything. You go over there. They're turning up. Like the music, the alcohol is flowing. People are, you know, dancing, gyrating, twerking. What do you? I know, right? He's like, I'm not interested. What do you do? And I mean, I have it as a multiple choice kind of thing. I'll read. A is leave. B is, you know what, you're going to be real ghetto and sit on the floor.
Go ahead.
Okay, that's okay. Sit quietly and smile at the party. Let go, turn up, and live it up. I mean, you know, YOLO, we only live once. Or, you know, you suggest a Bible study. Now, these are out there. But that's just to give you some ideas. If that happens to you in real life, really, what are you going to do? I mean, you know, it's happened to me where I'm somewhere and it just gets a little cuckoo. And I'm like, is this the time to bring up a Bible study? No. Or is this the time to even say, you know, I'm a Christian and what do you do? What do you do? What do you think?
Well, first of all, this is very educational, you nerd. What is the question?
If you're at an acquaintance house, it's number 2. Okay. If you're at an acquaintance house and people come over and they start turning up, and you know you're a believer, what do you do? You know, how do you act? Because there are people out there that, especially if they're young in Christ or they're young adults, like you were telling me about that You know.
Put in the comments what you would do.
What you would do.
If you was in that situation.
If you were in that situation, what would you do? So
well, it depends on
what the turn up is.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, it depends. No, but I'm just saying. But then you got to look at how big, like you said, how big is the turn up. But you got to look at the stages of the turn up for that person.
That's more.
You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, like, if I'm basically a new Christian, right? Mm-hmm. And basically I'm trying to avoid temptation. Mm-hmm. Like, how big is the turn up? Or is everybody in there getting bent? Right. You know what I'm saying? Is everybody in there getting bent? You know, is there a section over there that's the calm and collective that I can cool with? Right. Or in the rowdy places, rowdy people over here, and the other section, the quiet, calm, talkative type people just up in the corner talking. So it depends. Now, if I'm a new Christian and I'm seeing a bunch of people drinking and things like that, if I'm a recovered alcoholic or I'm a recovered drug addict, then I'll leave and go somewhere else. But then you got to look at the stages of what is there to do. You know, like where do we have to go? What do we have to do in order to avoid?
You're like, okay,
I'm just saying, like, she's like, well, if I leave here and I'm single, or he's like, if I leave here and I'm single, I'm just at home and I don't want to be at home tonight. You know what I'm saying? So should I just stay here and be and just chill and enjoy the people that turn up and just avoid alcohol? Or do I just go home and lay in the bed?
That's a good point. And in my opinion, like I was saying earlier, I think it depends on turn up.
Yeah.
And how people are acting, like how you say, is it like a calm area? Is it everybody here acting crazy?
Everybody acting up.
You know, because for me, like, I don't drink at all. But there have been times where I've been in a situation where people are drinking, but they're not acting crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if it's music involved, like I enjoy music. So I can have my own little moment to myself, and other people around me may be drinking, but that doesn't, have anything to do with me per se. Now, if they in here fighting, and then another thing, if I feel conviction or anything in my heart where I feel God being like, you need to leave.
Yeah.
Then that's my answer. Like, okay, I need to get out of here because I feel very uncomfortable. So obviously it's something in here that God does not want me to participate in. Rather, I'm just sitting here chilling or not. So I think it comes to those elements as well.
To make that kind of discernment.
Right.
And I mean, that's what I was going to say. We see in Psalms where it says, do not sit in the seat of the scornful, do not be in these places. But sometimes, as a Christian, we really need to be led by the Holy Spirit. Because, I'm going to tell you an example. We had a party where somebody played some R&B, remember, Crane? And somebody, because of their past, got convicted. And said, I really can't come back to those parties if that's the kind of music you're going to play.
I'm sorry to say
I'm just saying, I'm not
going
to
No, we didn't play no R&B. Oh. We didn't play R&B. You're talking about our event.
I'm talking about whatever the event was.
We didn't play R&B. What happened was, you know me, I'm loud, I'm energetic. So what happened was, at my events, I play nothing but gospel. But I want to play turn-up gospel, high energy, that type of thing. So it was real loud. It was blowing the place out. So the person that was partnering with us said that she felt convicted because of the music, because of the gospel music that she was listening. But anyway, she felt
the
loudness and me, just screaming and yelling and, doing my No Limit Larry energetic type thing in the gospel. That's my man. That's my homie. But, I was doing that. And the next day she was like, she felt convicted. But she wanted to play R&B the whole time. So with you wanting to play R&B, and play these line dances and all of that has nothing to do with God. You feel some type of conviction towards that. And then 2 weeks later, you had a family reunion, or a month later, you had a family reunion, and you just dancing and, moving and stuff like that. So, I don't know if she's a recovered alcoholic, blah, 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 or whatever. And so a lot of times when you go through these stages, it drives you crazy. And you really don't know how to handle it.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. If you were the turn-up queen, and I'll talk about myself, okay? Before I became saved, there was a friend of mine, and she's saved now too, but I'm not going to mention any names. And one time, it was every Saturday we were in this particular club. Every single Saturday. We started in the morning, we're getting our hair, nails, and all of that done. New outfit every single Saturday. We went to sleep so we would have enough energy, and we were in that club from 10, and this is New York, till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Every single weekend. We had our crew. We knew the mayor of the club. You used to call it mayor of the club. It was our thing that we did. There was one night particular that I remember that we were dancing. The dancer was hot, heavy, whatever. I know a spirit came over me. And I wasn't even saying that I was walking with God at the time. I know a spirit came over me. And I don't remember the rest of that night. I didn't go home with anybody. But the dancing on the dance floor was off the chain. I'm just going to say it was off the chain. And I remember the next day, and I got up and I told my friend, I said, I'm not going out again. She's like, girl, we're getting ready for next week. I said, I'm not going. I said, something really bothered me about the way the dancing was going, the way the people, it didn't matter if you knew the people's names. It was a spirit. And I said, I'm not going to do that. And I always remember that story because we got to walk with the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
You may be able to listen to R&B and gospel, and maybe just that time, something started to move in her that she felt uncomfortable.
Right.
And she said, look, I can't do that. Now, whether she's still struggling, we're all on a journey.
Right.
I believe we do not need to judge or condemn a brother and sister. The Bible says a man can fall, 7 times, and he gets up, 8? So we're supposed to support our brother and sister. And if you see him slipping, maybe you can be the reminder. But my thing is, we got to go by the Holy Spirit. If I go to a turn up and like you said, there's a quiet corner, and I can disappear in the quiet corner, that's cool. But if I start to see too much raunch, I'm out. And you know what? I may not say anything then. Because I kind of thought about this question. Do you mention your Christianity then? Or maybe the next day in the office. Like, hey,
you know what I do?
What'd you do?
Especially if I know him. The devil is a lie.
Yeah, he off the
Calm
chain.
down now. If I know him, if that's my family or something like that, the devil is a lie. You cut this devil off right now. This devil in the name of Jesus. Get that devil out of there.
I'm going to tell you a story. This dude, at 2 a.m. one time, we were out with some friends. Where we were at, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
He started preaching at 2 a.m. in the morning. And the only one in there was us, the other couple, a couple of waitresses, and they're all like, are we in church? It's 2 a.m. in the morning. And that same voice was like, look, this is what you got to do. And I was sitting there like, okay.
No, because you got to look at it now. You got to look at the world that we live in. You really got to look at the world that we live in. That person who's online right now are looking. Now, we got a bunch of these questions. What? Okay.
Trying to see if that's somebody.
Yeah, that probably is. But we dealing with a bunch of temptation, right? Am I right or wrong? So we're dealing with people who want to do godly things, but the temptation is so strong and so into them. It's like, because I was there at one time, it's like if I go over here, all they're going to be talking about and screaming about is Jesus and God and stuff like that. But if I go over here, it's going to be fun because they're going to have alcohol, they're going to have drinks, they're going to have all of this stuff. So the temptation is strong. So you really got to understand, like when you go in certain type of environments, certain people want to be in your corner, but they don't know how because nobody ever showed them how to draw on to Christ. So it's like anytime, and I talked to somebody about that earlier, and he married, anytime that you're doing what people want you to do, right? That's all you're going to do. You're going to do what people want you to do. That's how you're going to live with how people want you to live. Yeah. But anytime you walk a path, and temptation is so strong, of course, they're going to follow. Yeah. because they don't have no other direction.
Yeah.
So you got to be the leader and say, look, this ain't the way. Ain't nobody. Who's telling you? Hey, how you, Nicole? That's LaShonda. She's a poet. She's an author.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nicole, yes.
Yeah, she's a poet, an author.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
She's a singer.
How you doing?
Hey, a singer. So you know, you look at these certain things with temptation, and you know, you got to go in there and you got to be that strong leader and say, look, it ain't got to be that way. Ain't nobody telling them Jesus is coming. Ain't nobody talking you're going to hell if you don't get right. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel judged, but at the same time, it's like, bro, Jesus loves you. Jesus is not going to let you down. He needs you from the bottom of his heart. And they need to hear that. You know, so of course, you got to go in these type of environments, and you got to speak the gospel in these type of environments. Like you were saying the other day, earlier today, about you went in there and it just felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But imagine that person who stayed in there and felt just as uncomfortable as you.
Yeah.
Because they ain't have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I'm just really, I'm have to agree with these stages because I've gone through those stages personally myself, and it's difficult to have did some things and then you've given your life to Christ, and then now you're around people that's still going through their journey, that's still in the world, and you're trying to convince them there's a better way or you should be doing this when you've done it yourself.
Right.
So,
especially if they've seen you.
Absolutely.
Right.
So just to get to the stage, let's go to the stage where going to a party, for example, the particular thing that you spoke about, a party. Hey, I'm going to find out what type of party it is before I even go.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to be there?
Right. Is anybody coming over?
Drinking? Is it, and what type of music are you playing? Because where I'm now, 2-3 years ago, that wouldn't have mattered to me.
Right.
But where I'm at now, I'm not even going to put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at now. But when I go there or go to that particular area, for example, I'm in the hood where I stay at right now. That's where I'm supposed to be right now.
Right.
I just realized that recently. That's where I'm supposed to be. That's where I'm reaching, and that's going to be a whole other subject I'm going to. But I do agree. But to answer your question, I'm not going to put myself in that situation. I'm not even going to go. Let's get to it. Period.
And what I was saying was, when I say something, then like this was a person I met at the office, and they invited me by, and we know each other a little bit. Now this is my first time. I may not say anything there. I might pick another time at an office. Because, I mean, you know, listen, go ahead and do what you're doing. Yeah. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer and a negative Nancy now. I'm not going to be like, you know, I'll excuse myself. If I know the person a little longer, I might say something. Right. Like if it was a childhood friend, now you know I ain't going to be up in no place like this. Right. You know, something like that. But either way, I think I would at some point address, like, you know, hey, that's just not my style. I'm a believer at this point. I'm trying to, you know, follow Christ, different things like that. It really, it can kind of go on the situation.
But I think with us as believers now, you know, you probably don't like me mentioning this, but, you know, I send inboxes and stuff like that to people, and you remember how I was talking about it's frustrating when people just can't be straight up honest, like I'm not interested. So I think us as believers, us as followers of Christ, which the Bible does talk about us being of truth, right? So if you feel any type of way like you're going to feel uncomfortable in a certain type of situation, you got to be truthful. And the reason why is because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect out of those people. They might be like, nah, it's not going to be that type of party. Or they might make it to where it's comfortable for you.
And I was going to say, and also, you may be planting a seed in them by being honest, saying, hey, look, I don't feel comfortable in this type of situation. Where now they're thinking about that with any plans or any party or whatever that they plan to have.
Yeah, for the future, they'll be like, they'll just be like, well, this is the type of party because I really want to be around you. So this is the type of party that I'm going to make so that you could feel comfortable coming. So I feel like it needs to, like, at the end of the day, you need to be truthful and you need to be honest. Because you got to look at it like us as Christians, we got to set an example to the world.
Right. We got to be.
You know what I'm saying? We got to be an example, and we got to be the light and show them that it's okay. It's okay to be honest. It's okay to be truthful. It's okay to be guided by God, because at the end of the day, when you're guided by God, you're okay, regardless of whatever outcome you go through. But I'm a hush, because I'm a hush. This is this time.
What's the next question?
What's the next question? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is again about getting outside. You go out with an acquaintances, you drink, they do not. What do you do?
Wait a minute, say it again.
You go out with acquaintances. We're not talking about deep friends who know you for a long period of time. But we're talking about acquaintances. You drink, they do not. What do you do? A, drink anyway, they're not the boss of you. B, abstain to not appear different. C, discuss alcohol and decide based on the discussion. Like, discuss alcohol and being a believer. Discuss alcohol. Because you know that's a big subject on Facebook.
Then we do,
whether
just to be open and honest, and we all on Facebook, but we do open a bottle every now and again. You know,
we do.
We do. You know what I'm saying? So with us, it's no problem to go in those type of environments. But with us, you know, we'll wear our shirts or whatever. But with us, it's like the music. We can take the beverages, but the music is a different story.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I cannot take, I'm sorry, but I cannot take somebody telling me that they going to my mama's house and sleeping with her, or they sleeping with my wife tomorrow.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I can't do that. I don't see how people can do that.
Yeah.
You know, and telling me that they're going to sell drugs to my uncle, my grandma, my granddaddy, you know, and they got these $1 million chains, and they got them off selling drugs to my family. Are you crazy? I can't do that.
Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, because you're going on to the music, but that's okay. But I'll tell you where this question came from. Was we went out with some people, we met, and I knew they were, I'm going to say church people. I didn't know them well, so I didn't know their depth of relationship. And they were basically like, we don't drink. You know, Christians should abstain. I mean, this is it. And I've also almost became a member of a church where in your membership meeting, they said, we don't believe our members should drink. And I had to make a decision. I was like, you know what, Lord, I'm not going to lie and say I don't drink. I'm not going to be in a church and take membership. And I'll be honest with you, I ended up really not taking membership there. Because to me, yes, my husband and I, we drink. We drink very, you know, as the commercial goes, very responsibly. We're not drinking to ever really get drunk. You know, that's not our idea. But the time that I was with the two acquaintances, this is my cat, I hope you don't mind, cat.
Oh, no.
Okay. The time that I was with the two acquaintances, and I didn't know them very well, and they were like, we don't believe Christians should drink. And I abstained. I said, listen. And this, you know, he fussed with me and said, I would have just sat there and drank. I said, no. Because sometimes we're responsible for our brothers and sisters' soul. We are very responsible. And I said, you know what? Just by the tone, the way she said it, I knew if I tried to even have, the discussion, it wouldn't have turned well. We were trying to actually work together. And so for that night, I abstained. What is it to me if I abstain one night? You know, it doesn't hurt me. So I tell people in that conversation, if you can have a rational conversation without people getting emotional, have it, you know. But at the same time, if it's not going to really hurt you to be, you know, if you come over my house, the last thing I'm going to do, LaShonda, is like, here's a drink. Right. I know you don't drink. If you were a recovering alcoholic, I wouldn't drink either. Right. Because what I'm thinking is, your soul is more important than anything on this planet. And if I have to abstain, I think about Paul when he said, I will become anything because of your soul. I will anything you need me to be, I will become because I care more about your soul. And I think that's more important. However, sometimes, you know, like when we go out, and you know, we have our things in bars, restaurants, all that kind of stuff. We don't drink while we're doing our show. We don't do that. We give that time as like a sacrifice unto God. We're caring for the people who come through the door.
In God's services.
And thank you. We're in God's services. Hello, right now. Even though it's a party. Even though it's a party, even though he's got his upbeat and he's Mr. DJ and running around, we are serving you still.
Yeah.
So we don't drink during those times. Afterwards, sometimes after 4 or 5 hours, I'm like, please, just something small. And we'll sit and talk with the owners, and we usually have a meeting with them and different things like that. And so we're talking. But my thing is, and Chuck, you can say however you feel, I really am more concerned about your soul. If it meant that you could see Christ better, if I didn't even eat meat while I'm around you, because and I know scriptures from my head out of memorization. Is the church meat or drink? Is your brother meat or drink? Literally, we ought to be concerned about never putting a stumbling block in front of our brother and sister in any way, shape, or form. So that's my answer to the question.
Tommy Nichols said, in public, you must be careful of your witness. That's what they're saying. Like, I guess a lot of people say you got to watch who you're around because a lot of people watch you. You know, and they want to question and they want to judge. You know, they judge off of who you are. But I mean, you know, that's based off of who you're talking to, who you're interacting with. You know, if you're in your family's presence, they already know who you are. If you're family and friends, they already know it. Half of the time, if you go in another direction in your family, you already know what that's going to look like. So whether you drink or don't drink, they just not going to like you. You know what I'm saying? But somebody to be brand new and coming into the Christ light, you got to watch how they are, and you have to communicate to see where their mind is. Because I used to drink with a lot of Christians. You know, going to church, boy, we used to turn up, boy. New beginners, what up, baby? We used to
you know, you been calling people out.
Yeah, I called them out.
I should be full off.
She got scared.
She's not trying to get on me. That
Lord have mercy.
My pocketbook tripped.
No, not that. You're calling out people in a whole church. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. No. I'm like,
you do.
I just said new. All I said.
And I was like, yes, in the name of Jesus.
I just said in the beginning, what up? That's all I said.
No.
But I'm just saying, during my ex-marriage.
You just finished saying, we used to turn up the new beginnings. And I was like,
But I'm just saying, like, during my first marriage, we used to hang out, with the married couples, and, some people would drink, and, because we could relate to each other, and we were good, and some people weren't drinking. But the thing about it is, it's just what type of relationship that you have with that person, and what type of...
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that too. It depends on who you're going with, but this question was brought up to me of me not too long, a little while ago, because I used to turn up too, and I used to drink, and back when I was in the world. But then when I decided to give everything up, and I stopped drinking altogether. But then, because the church, it was always the stigma, you're a Christian, the same thing. You're a Christian, you can't drink. You can't drink. And then I started getting more in the Bible and said, wait a second. If it's in the Bible. And then this teenager asked me and saw me with a glass of wine. So then when I became, fully myself and fully understand who I was in God, that's what I have to deal with. So I had a wine. I went out to this party and I had some wine. And this teenager saw me and said, "Hey, you're not supposed to drink. I think you drink." He said, "You know what?" I said, "I used to always believe that, but you look in that Bible. It says back in the days they would drink their wine. You could drink not to get drunk. And people take that out of concept and turn it around and make you seem like you're a Christian. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do that. But there are Christians who does worse things than drinking and fornicating and everything else. But they want to just be that witness to exactly what it is that we do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So again, it depends on who the witness is. If that person, we're trying to bring their souls, and then once they get to understanding the Bible, then that's something that we can say, okay.
Yeah, because
but if they don't, they always going to see it as that stigmatization. And I don't think so.
And it's all about the way the relationship grows. But I think, the relationship grows. But as a single, which we're looking at how do you protect yourself from being vulnerable, if that makes any sense, with who you're drinking with. You know, like you said, as a single, you got to be protective of, you know, who you're drinking around, because everybody has hidden motives and hidden agendas.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And everybody ain't got the right intentions for you. So how do you plan that out?
You know, that's related to question number 5. Because question number 5 is it says new believer, but just wherever you are in your journey. You're trying to put some habits, drinking, smoking, sexual activity, behind you. What steps do you take? And I have an A, B, C, D. A, cut everyone connected to the habit off. Stop going to places connected to the habit. C, keep those friends, acquaintances, and tell them you've changed. D, politely decline invitations, hoping they get the hint. So, I mean, I just left those out there because you saw what I had to do with the club thing. I just had to say, not going. Talk to you guys later. If you want to hang out at Panera Bread, Starbucks, whatever, that's great. But we're not going to be doing the 10 to 5 a.m. thing in the morning. That, for me, had to happen. And some of them, it was a conversation about my belief system. Some of it was just like, hey, guys, you know. Because I just recently went through where somebody says they don't want to be friends with me because we talk too much about God. So, you know, literally, I'll tell you another time. But literally, you know, some people, I would give the witness, but if they're going to shut me down, I'm like, hey, I love you with the love of God. Anytime you need me, I'm here. But, so what would you do? I mean, what have you had to do in your life?
Does that fall on the C? Your answer, so?
Does my answer fall on the C, which was
somebody's on Instagram.
Keep those friends, acquaintances, and tell them you changed. Some friends I was able to keep and say that it would change. Some friends were like, you don't have to life. This world you're going to be doing. So that happened. And you got to be comfortable.
Yeah, regardless of the outcome.
The outcome, and that is hard. That is a faith walk and a half to talk to people and not know whether they're going to still accept you.
Because I saw a bunch of all the questions too. I mean, I saw all the answers I had when I do
in different things. Talk about.
Some people I had to just cut off because they just wasn't getting it. It was blatantly just being disrespectful. It's like, yeah, you're right, and just doing things. And some people that the friend, I kept those friends and acquaintances and told them I changed. They didn't believe, and they eventually just stopped being around me. They stopped going, and then I had to stop going to the places in order for temptation. Because when you're a new believer in Christ, that temptation is so strong. You have to try to fight it so hard. So, in order to just not give in to temptation, you don't place yourself in that predicament where you don't want to be for you to fall back. And that's how. Go ahead.
No. Sometimes you're put in that situation just as a test.
Yes.
Just as a test.
That's true.
Yeah. And I was just reading that over again. I'm one of those. I'm a very talkative person, but I'm just warming up.
We got some mints up in there.
And again, I'm where I'm at spiritually. I'm learning to be quick to listen.
Yeah.
And just be observant and understand everybody's different, and we're at different places, and understand and try to put myself in that other person's shoes. But to go to the question where you said you're a new believer or wherever you are or your spiritual journey, and to put some of those habits, trying to get rid of some of those habits. Now I have a thing with smoking. I smoke a Newport 4 or 5 times. Ready for one right now, to be honest with you. But how do I break that habit? I mean,
it's hard.
It's really, really hard. But then I think about, okay, I got friends that like to smoke
weed.
Did I ever smoke before? Yes, I have. But I made up in my mind that I did not want to smoke because of the consequence that came with it and the type of people I was hanging around. Okay? At some point, I wasn't celibate. I didn't think I could ever be celibate. But then it came to a point with my journey in Christ that now that's not even it doesn't even faze me. So,
I was talking about that today.
How can I put this?
You a strong man, bro.
I thought it was going to be hard. I really thought it was going to be hard. And I even put stipulations in. Okay, if I can't do it every day, I'll do it every week. Once a week. If I can't do it once a week, I'll do it twice a month. If I can't do it twice a month, then I'll do once every 3 months. And then it got to a place where I'm faced with a situation that somebody I really love, and I'm going to God. I'm saying, God, okay, what do I have to give up for you to hear me to fix this? I'm bargaining with God.
Y'all hear this? This a man's talking right now. This is a man's talking. Hallelujah. Come on now. No, go ahead. Talk. This is man's talking. Instagram, Facebook. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'm out the picture right here.
It got to a point as I'm sitting there in the living room by myself, and this is key. Every time I was calling on God, I was around a lot of people, and I was in my mess. It was noise. I could never hear him. But when it was peace and quiet,
oh my God! Yeah,
it was so
right there.
So clear. Yeah, me too.
It was so clear.
Yeah.
But what came to me, and I'll say different terms like it's something in me or something. The Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, if I gave up my life for you, you can't even give up that little bit. So what was the most important thing to me at that time? Sex. I had to have it. So I'm like, if I can sacrifice that and show my faithfulness to you to show that I believe in you and I know you can do this, I have to sacrifice something as well. And so that's what I sacrificed. I'm going to sacrifice what I don't want to sacrifice to show that, listen, I'm really, really trying. Yeah. But this is how, and I'm in with this, because it can go a little deeper and deeper and deeper.
Go deep, go deep, because what you got to realize is from a man's perspective, and talking from a man's perspective, you don't know how many people you might touch, whether it's women, whether it's men, from your story, because a lot of people don't even believe that's watching this right now, they're seeing it.
I'm telling you, I need to hear this too.
And I'm done, because I'm not going to talk too much after this.
No.
And I'm a visual person. It was like, this is my first time in your home.
Yeah, that's okay.
If you turn on every light in this house, and times this house times 10, and I walk in, and you, wherever in this house, in this pitch black dark, it's me saying, okay, I'm sorry, what's your name one more time? Chuck. I'm going to say Chuck. Chuck, where are you? I can't find you. It's dark. I've never been. That's where I was spiritually. I was new, rebirth, and I'm going in a place I've never been spiritually, and I'm going in it blind and dark, but I got to trust his voice
to take you where you got to go. Yeah. Hello. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead. Because that's a lot of us are like that. Yeah. A lot of us, especially if it's something hard to give up.
I know, I told him that.
If it's something hard to give up. The easy stuff, oh God, you don't want me to steal no more. Well, I wasn't a murderer, I wasn't a thief anyway, so that's not hard.
Talking about that today.
But it's not hard.
That's
not hard. But you know what, Lord? I gotta stop walking in pride. Oh,
yes.
Oh,
yes.
When everybody wants you to be a diva and a mogul, and you grind it. I gotta stop walking in pride, or I gotta stop telling cute little white lies.
Oh my God.
So the thing that's hard. That's when, like you said, you're in that place and you're saying, God, I'm not by myself. I can't do this. And like you said, when there's no noise, you can hear what does it say? The small, still voice that says, "Come this way. Keep going this way. I got you. I'm there with you." That is the point where we're dealing with the worldly temptation. That's the point. Because the more you do it, like you said, God, I'll give up a weekend. I'll give up, one day a month or whatever. But at least you got started. At least you got started. And see, that's what I'm telling people is, that's why I call it a spiritual journey.
It is
call it a spiritual journey.
Absolutely.
Because, some things you might be delivered from real quick.
Right.
Don't have a problem with that. Other things, you're walking. And I call it a faith walk because you literally, you put one foot in front of the other. And like a baby, you're stumbling. But after a while, you're running down the street.
Well, let me just read for because Shonda did a live, and I don't know if y'all seen it, Chuck, where the dangling of the carrot.
Yeah, dangling the carrot.
And what I've learned to do now, and it's still hard, but I'm trying to do at this point is to be, and I tell Shonda all the time, she heard me say this, I try to be blind, completely blind to certain things, or in some cases, all things, so I'm not looking at the outside. I'm not looking at the outside. And I don't want to judge nobody because I ain't like nobody judging me. And what I get right to this day is when Trey, if I do a good live or talk about some good stuff, they say, well, I remember how you used to be teens.
Well, you know, and you know, that's a reality.
Right.
We all deal with that, especially when you come up. But I think that's people that's fighting themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you come up with somebody, from a little boy or a teen or however you went to school with them, and they see the growth within you from the outside, and they're just staying still, and they're in a lost turnaround. You know, it's like, I don't know where to go. You know, I'm too arrogant, I'm too this, I'm too that, to draw into God to see what this is. So, of course, they're going to look, well, this brother, this sister right here, you know, and they doing this. But I remember I'm going to bring you down to where you was 5, 10, 15 years ago. I'm going to remind you, you know, so that's reality. But how you deal with that? Just like Judy always says, yeah, but God has restored me.
Well, I told him, I said, I'm at this stage in my life, and I wasn't always here. But I walked with the Lord, I backslid, I come back to the Lord. I'm at the point in this life that there's nothing a person can bring up from the past
Right.
that would hurt me in any way, that would upset me in any way. If anything, I would be like, oh my God, you remember that?
Right.
Can I tell you where I am now? That doesn't even affect me. They might run off from me because I'm going to be sitting there with testimony time.
They're trying to bring it up in a
Trying to bring me back down.
You
Yes. I said there isn't anything, and it's not that I go in my past to throw things in people's face and talk about the past, but if somebody should come back and say, oh, Jenny, I remember when you were talking to that married man. I remember, yes, but you know, God has blessed me with a marriage that is powerful. You couldn't faze me at this point.
But
I'm just saying,
look at the situation
you're right about
of
people wanting to bring you back.
Especially if you single them. Imagine if you're single.
Yeah.
Good God Almighty.
And
you used to have the little black book.
And you single, and you single.
I used to have a team over there.
And you single. And you're at that point to where you gave your life to Christ versus 5 to 10 years ago, and you see where you were at that time, but that other person sees where you were, but wants to bring you back down to where you were 5 or 10 years ago.
Because they're still there. They're still battling. They're still empty on the inside.
Right.
They're still trying to fulfill themselves in the same old way. Yeah. And they're like, but now he looks like he's peaceful and happy. You know, he's not doing what I used to do. He's not doing what we used to do. And my father used to say, that's when you want to be, when they want to say, well, what? Let me tell you about the joy that I have. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell you about the peace that I have. So, I mean, it does get to be difficult. We've been on this question for a while, but, you know, literally depending on what that person's relationship, where you think you can witness or not witness, there's a lot we can do with that. There's a lot we can do. And I just tell people always, I call it forever eyes, eternity eyes. Keep in mind whenever you're dealing with somebody, even from the past, you're dealing with a soul.
And I use it, just to piggyback on what you're saying, I use that as a testimonial type skill or situation where I say yes, because if you listen to me in my life, it's all about, that's what I used to do. I'm an open book. That's what I did. This is that situation, and the molding that's happened from that point to now is where I'm at now. And it's still, he still ain't finished with me yet. I still got some things. This is an ongoing story. Until I die, my book go in. But what am I going to leave for the next person? And my whole thing is to have a blueprint to say, if you're in this situation, that situation, or this situation, this is how I got. If you never did drug, how you gonna get an addict?
Right.
I'm done.
I'm
done.
Right.
They're not going to hear you.
They're not going to hear you. Because they know you can't. And this is what I always keep. They can't relate. They can't say, I don't care that I talk about. Before, when I first was a babe in Christ, I was so ashamed of who I was. Mm-hmm. But when I started growing and growing, I said, wait a second. Why should I be ashamed? It was going out through it. This is what I did, because how am I going to keep preaching to somebody and say, well, you can't tell me how to do this. You ain't did that. Yes, I did. I did this. I did this. I did this.
Because they got to learn how you went through it anyway.
I went through it and how I got out of it.
Because some people get stuck. They don't know how to get out of it. And then if you have that blueprint, if you've been through it, now they have, it's a way, yes, you did it. You got through it. Because there were some things I didn't think that I could get through until I met somebody that I actually been through it. But the people who had never been through it, I didn't really hear them. I heard them, but I didn't hear them. But then they told me how they got through it, just like starting a business. Okay, if you ain't never had a business, you can't talk to me. I mean, I'll listen to you to a certain degree, but how are you going to really elevate me to that next level?
Right.
You got to...
And I'm going to put another spin on this, everybody.
No,
because Chuck and I talk about this all the time. As you become a deeper student of Jesus, a deeper disciple, as you become stronger, I began to see things as a different light. You know how you were saying, well, you know, I was ashamed at first, but now I can talk to them. I actually know that now that means these people are my assignment.
Right.
These people
this is
are
why
my assignment.
These
are my assignments because they can relate to me, I can relate to them, and I'll be able to tell them, like you said, in a business. I never forgot when a friend of mine, she lost somebody in life, the person passed away, and she was calling different people, and she ended up calling me. She said, Judy, I remember you said that you buried your parents, and we talked for 3 hours because what? I knew what she was going to have to do. I knew everything down to what you were going to do at the funeral home. I knew what you were going to do at the cemetery. I knew what you were going to do, and then afterwards you're going to have a repast. You're going to have a visiting hour. I knew everything. And now I am so confident, and Chuck gets on me all the time. He said, Judy, I'm confident because that means that's my assignment. Yeah. If you come to me and say, Judy, you know, I had a problem with being in a relationship and being faithful, I can deal with that. I can deal with that because guess what? This is where I was years ago before I found Christ and was able to do. So now I get excited if somebody comes to me and talks to me about something that they're going through, or even if they're angry with it. Because I'm like, you know what? I don't even understand your anger. Yeah. I even understand your anger. I understand your frustration because I remember feeling that. And think about it. Like you said, you can't talk. You can't. Somebody can tell you, no, what are they doing? I forgot what your name is.
Trey, I'm sorry.
Trey. They're maybe quoting out a book. If they ain't go through it, right? What are they quoting out? Right. Not out of their life experience. And they can give you a whole bunch of do's and don'ts, but they can't give you a how.
And you know, it's so
they can't give you a how. Okay? They
so
can't.
You
know, so that's so exciting. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
excited.
Because I got excited.
Try not to fall
because you don't realize. You just clarified when you say your assignment. Yeah. I talked to this female today, just like it was. I'm supposed to be here because he was supposed to talk about abstinence because I needed confirmation on my assignment I had to do with another female.
Hold on.
So it's all of that.
Hold on, Nicole.
I got chills.
Hold on, Nicole. Hold that thought. Tell the camera, social media, what you just said about there was a reason that God sent you here.
Oh, I was saying that when Miss Judith talked about assignment, I got that goosebumps. That I got that feeling too, that it was on my assignment, that I was supposed to be here for that moment. So that when Trey talked about abstinence, I was supposed to hear because another female was supposed to be my assignment. Now, it wasn't a coincidence that he mentioned what he mentioned. Right. Because I literally have not talked to this young lady in so long, and yet she was talking to me about abstinence. I've been abstinent. I've been done this and been there but done that. But I've been it for a long time. So she was questioning me how I do it. Right. So for me, and he said something. He was saying how it was a walk, how he was doing it. So he just confirmed to me, but gave me more pointers on how to go back to and take that to her. Right. And coming from a man's standpoint of view. So you understand what I'm saying? And people don't realize these are the assignments. She may be in my assignment, but But I may have been his assignment for him to enlighten me on what to do and how to handle that accident situation. Well, you see what I'm saying?
Okay, and this is something I say to people. I said, once you become a child of God, because when the Bible says that all things work together, I don't think there's no such thing as coincidence.
No, it's
right.
We begin to be tapped into what God's plan is. We don't know it all. We see it darkly as through a mirror, but at the same time, you start to have these moments. Tell me as a believer, you haven't had moments
all
like
the
this
time.
where you're like, wait a minute. I didn't know I was going to be here and talk to you, and you were going to need what I know. And you begin to see how he says he's weaving us together. You know, and that's where the support of the body comes from one another. Grant and I talked a lot, and I'm getting off the subject, but he talked a lot. We did a Facebook Live this morning about dimming our lights. Remember, about shouting louder for Jesus. And I said the last thing we need to do in these days is to quiet our voice, dim our light, and put a bushel over what we know. Because literally, your assignment is walking down the street. And you were talking about, well, you know, I just went through this thing where they told me at my job, I got to close the door if I do my Bible study. You don't know if there's a person down the hallway that needs to hear what you say. I'm going to give you an example just now. A friend of mine, she told me this testimony this afternoon. A friend of mine, it was work-related. She had a meeting. She had to give a presentation at the meeting. I don't even remember. It had to do with some quarterly report. God wasn't even in the meeting. I mean, you know, we're talking quarterly report numbers. She got 2 or 3 messages afterwards. And some of them like, wow, I didn't know you were such a great speaker. Wow, I expect any minute for you to leave here. The last one was the one that sent chills, and I tried not to have an accident. The woman said, how does God figure in the way that you ran that meeting today? How does God figure in the way you presented your information today? And she was able to say, God figures in everything I do. Now, if I sent out a meeting of quarterly report numbers, that was God needed her to hear what you said for her to be able to ask you the question, for you to be able to give your testimony. And if you were in there thinking, well, at my job, we're not supposed to talk about Jesus, there's your assignment, just walk by. There's your assignment, just walk by. So I'm telling everybody, don't dim your light. Don't be masked and muffled in your walk with Christ, because even there's some people, oh, Jennifer, that was great. You know, you did a great job. But there was that one person that talked to her about God. Out of some quarterly numbers. And I'm sitting there like, that, you know, because I told her all the time, I said, faith come by what? Hearing. And hearing by the word of God. So she heard something, the Spirit moved on her. And then you got to get into a conversation about God. That's what we do every day. That's what every believer, I think, does every day. Every day. I know we don't way off the question. I mean, because this was deep. This was really, really deep to talk about our walks. What is the one I wanted to do? There's 2 I wanted to really get. And this was, again, well, you want to get to the other lady's question? Or?
Yeah, I think we want to get on that because this woman, she's a very attractive woman. Very attractive.
Number 13.
And she's very attractive. And she travels all around the world. She's working with her daughter in the entertainment business. She manages artists, you know, all types of stuff like that. She gets sponsored during events by Mercedes-Benz, so you know that's huge, right? But she has a problem dealing with relationships and dealing with me, and I think she comes from a marriage of domestic violence. Now she's in a situation to where she's dealing with this man who's dealing with a Muslim woman, who the Muslim woman accepts him having more than one girl. So that other girl is her. But she doesn't accept that because she's a Christian, and he tries to bring it to the biblical principle. You remember back in the day, different people had more than one. So she's dealing with that type of situation, but she's in LA now, so she couldn't make it. She wanted to make it, so she called me on the phone and she was like giving me questions in order to talk about it right now in order to inspire her. I don't want to tag her or anything. Cause,
No. I mean, because somebody else might be dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know,
so let me make sure I'm understanding. The bullet points in this particular situation, she's in a relationship with this man. Is that the case?
Mm-hmm.
She's still dealing with him. She's trying to get out of it.
He's come back to her saying, I do want you,
but I want this other woman
you
too.
In this whole situation that I'm coming to. And he's trying to literally, I mean, I know, we're smart. He's literally trying to build biblical background. He's trying to wear her down, is what I told him. But, but I'm taking into account that if she really likes the person, really, really loves the person, wants to be in a relationship with the person, this is the kind of worldly temptation that is out there. Okay. And go ahead.
No, I'm just curious. So, what was her question to you as far as what should she do?
Like, is it acceptable or?
She just wanted dialogue.
She said, "Is polygamy becoming acceptable?"
She wanted us to talk about it. Yeah, she wanted dialogue.
And
she's not gonna. I don't think she's gonna accept it, but I think she's dealing with the fact that she's hurting from that situation. You know what I'm saying? Because that's her ex, and now the ex is dealing with a Muslim woman who's accepting his garbage. And his thing with it is there's a shortage of men, you know. So basically, there's a shortage of men.
Did that one end? The time might have been up because it only got so amount of time.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I mean, but see, I guess why I put this under worldly temptation. We've got people out there who may not be deep. You can restart. May not be deep in their walk. May not be far in their walk. And people are coming to them. And I'm gonna tell you this: the reason I put this question is not only are we dealing with, well, is there a man shortage? But we're also dealing with people who say, you know, Jesus is not the real Messiah, and what you need to do is do Egyptian. We got a lot of people leaving the church because they're unhappy about the way Christianity has been presented in certain ways, and so they want to get you into Kemet, and they want to get you into Egyptian, and they want to call themselves Hebrews, and so a lot of this stuff is very seductive. It's very seductive. So he says, oh, well, you can't find anybody. There's a man shortage, so, you know, this is my answer to it. And, you know, again, if you're not surrounded by some strong biblical people, because I didn't put it down because we had this question.
Strong biblical, just biblical
people
who walk, with Christ.
If you're not reading your word to fortify yourself, you know, I was in the Christian group, and the question came up, well, why, you know, is there a man shortage? That question comes up in the singles groups a lot. Is there a man shortage?
I don't think it is. I think that the issue is there are a lot of saved women that's trying to do the right thing. And there are a lot of men out there, but just because there's a lot of men out there don't mean you won't. Because of what they're doing. And, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's views on things are different. And so you got to find someone that has the same views as you, because regardless of whether she accepts that or not, those aren't her views. Exactly. She don't believe that. And so she's never going to fully be happy or accepting that situation because that's not in her views. So that automatically lets that be known that they're not a fit. Now, he may find another woman that's why, you know what, I can deal with that. You know, but that's not her. And that's not saying that that's a bad thing. That she knows what her values are and what's important to her, and if that's something that she doesn't feel comfortable with, not even speaking on the spiritual level, just in general. Yeah, if that's something she's not comfortable with, then just because he says there's a man shortage, that's a lie for one. But two, you know, regardless of if it's a man shortage or not, are you willing, because there's a man shortage, to share a man? Period, you know?
And this is the seductive way that people are doing these things now. I'm telling you, because I've had friends, and all of a sudden, well, you know, Jesus is a white man's religion, and we really are all Egyptian, and we go further back than the Europeans and the King James Bible. And I'm listening to these people, and I'm like, what is this fulfilling in you that you suddenly now don't even want to talk about God or Jesus in that way? There are seductive ways that people are indoctrinated into different either belief systems or into, like this woman, into a relationship, you know. So I personally, when I read what she said, because the rest of it she goes on to say, why are some women purposely positioning themselves in another family just to break it up, calling the man their own, and why is she winning?
She's not winning.
She's not winning.
It's appearing on the outer.
Yeah, it's an outer thing.
But she's not.
She's not winning. But see, imagine now that this person is looking at her and saying, wow, she's prospering. She got the man. They look like they're doing together. They're doing this.
We was.
You know, yeah. And they getting lucky. She got a new car. He bought her a car. They got to do money together now, so they got more money. And it's hard. And the reason I put this down, some part of worldly temptation is that we're going to have to watch some sinful people advance.
That's in the... What was the verse that we read in reference
advance
to
and
but let me be clear. Let me look at you real quick. Let me look at you. No, because I'm working the camera thing. They advance, because I think the same way. But when I look at it, yes, they're advancing in the natural. They're advancing in the natural, but they're not advancing spiritually.
There you go.
Which means the people that are advancing, yes, they got their cars, they got their they got their houses, they got the 3-story houses, they could have numerous degrees, whatever. But you got to look at their lifestyle at the end of the day. You got to look at their lifestyle, and you got to be distanced with their lifestyle in order to see where they're coming from, in order to see what's going on with them within their life, because a lot of them are miserable.
You don't know what they're dealing with.
Miserable.
Right. I'm going to run and get my Bible, because there is a scripture that I remember.
So,
it is a scripture, and I cannot remember it to say in my life in reference to what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, they're miserable. So, yeah, of course we see the things, but at the same time, God may not want us to be in that position as of, because he's seeing how other people are handling their position, and he has a different assignment for us. And that's why I said, like, we got to watch what we tell people, because people are more inspired by economic growth than spiritual growth. And that's why we got to watch it, because those people are having expectations of God, and they get disappointed, and they draw away from God just because God ain't answering them, because they're hearing that God's talking to them the way that you put them to talk, or the way that you demonstrated that he was going to talk to them, and God wasn't going that way. So they didn't want to hear nothing else from God. And that ain't the way God operates. So we got to watch Christians. We got to be careful. Church, pastors, we got to be careful on how we talk to people about God and the kingdom. We can't sit there and say they're going to advance at their job, because they might not ever advance, or it might take them 30 years, but you telling them this week they're going to advance, especially singles. You know, we got to watch how we carry it, because people need to grow spiritually in this dying world. So that's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm going to just say one thing before you get ready to read, because I was just blown away by the question that she asked. First of all, it's artificial love that's being sold out here.
Yes.
It's artificial. It's not even real. If it's not real, then you got to ask yourself, how am I even in that position to even think or consider this may be real?
Right.
Now I'm gonna break this down to those in a more modern way. If you are a person that don't deal, for example, with a drug dealer, why would you consider being with a drug dealer?
Right.
Okay.
If you're a woman or a man that wants to be with a lower woman, why would you even consider or date or think about dating a woman that is a swinger?
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me. So it becomes, I have to look at myself.
Right.
You can't look at the other person.
Right.
If they're trying to put you in a situation and you even question, I may not do it, or why even they're asking me, you got to look at yourself. Why is this man in her situation? Why is this man feel comfortable to even come to even ask her, to be in that situation where he has multiple wives. Right. If that's something you don't get down with or don't believe in with, you're not even going to entertain it. You're going to shut it down completely.
Conversation, thank you.
And the last question she stated was another women that position themselves in another family just to break it up and call the man her own and then think she's winning. Really? I mean, you can't do nothing unless you want to do it. And so many times and so long, men have did things. Let's just be honest. We've done things and portrayed roles and had 2 and 3, 4, 5 different women. But it boils down. These men can't do, just hypothetically speaking. I ain't talking about if it don't fit, don't wear it. But if these men are this way or this type of way, why are you allowing these things to happen? You can't put it back on the man. You have to look at yourself and saying, why am I even at this place? So it really boils down to how much do you really love yourself? How much, and we're talking about even in the single aspect, or if it's in the marriage aspect, did we get married for the wrong reason? What is it really? So for the young lady, my opinion would be, I would take a step back, look at the bigger picture. If you have some concerns, why, even this man even actually that's even considering or whatever it may be, you got to look at yourself and take the other person, as you like to say, out of the equation. Take them out of the equation and really dig deep within yourself and try to get to understand yourself, because you shouldn't even be in that situation from the get-go.
Right.
I'm done with that. Because I can go deeper with it, but I know time won't allow us to go into it. But
and I just want to say, because I know as a single person, when the years start to stretch on, I've got some friends that were married. They were married at one point. They're now been single for 17 years. And so you start to grow weary, and you start to wonder, and you may begin to entertain
things that you would
not normally entertain.
Right.
But this is why it is important, one, to be in your word.
Right.
Absolutely.
Two, to surround yourself with strong believers who are also in the word. Because you can't allow these things to slowly drip. It's like a slow drip in your mind that, you know what, there's a man shortage. You open a thing, there's 20 women to every man. You start to see these things over and over again, and you begin to buy into it. I had somebody who wrote a book, and he said there isn't a man shortage. There is a shortage of men who are marriage-minded. Right. So we've got a lot of women who are saying, I'm saving myself, I'm waiting to be found. And you're not having a large number of men who are saying, I'm choosing one and I'm settling down for the rest of my life. But that's the difference from saying there's a man shortage, period.
Right. Because it's not.
It's not. They're out. There are men all over the place.
Right.
So the thing of it is that, for this young woman, and I want to call her young sister, we need for you to, one, like you said, take the other person out of the equation and strengthen yourself in the Lord. And then secondly, get yourself around a lot of people. If someone's trying to tell you, I'm in this different faith, other than your faith, and saying, this is what I believe because I'm in this faith, well, that doesn't line up with your faith. It just doesn't. Automatically.
And so even if you keep going, you can't keep entertaining the conversation.
You calling him sounding all seductive on the phone. I know. Look, I've had little booty calls. You sound great on the phone. But the point of the matter is that's not how I want to live my life. And we have to be, it's hard to turn down, people get to the say, well, if I turn this down, I'm never going to get any other kind of option whatsoever. Especially if you see the woman winning.
Right.
Especially if you see.
In the world, it looks like she's winning.
Exactly.
The world looks like it's winning. Yeah. And I found the scripture that I always read. This is Psalm 37. I don't know what the one you had. But the one I always remember is Psalm 37.
I know it when you say it.
And this says, be still before the Lord, wait patiently for him, and entrust yourself to him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who carries out wicked schemes. cease from anger and abandon wrath. Do not fret.
I think that's it.
It leads only to evil.
Stand up on that one right there.
Okay, so for those who do evil will be cut off.
Yes, that's the one I was talking about.
But those who wait for the Lord, they will inherit the land. And, literally, the wicked plots against the righteous and gnashes at him with his teeth. The Lord laughs at him because he sees that his day of defeat is coming.
One of the key words you said in that reading was patience.
Patience.
A lot of people don't have that. They want it right now. And just look at the world we at right now. Everything is fast. Don't get me started.
Okay, the one I love when it says, better is a little of the righteous than the abundance of many wicked, godless people. Okay? Sometimes, like crazy, you may not get that promotion.
Right.
But you got Christ, you got peace, you got, safety. Because let me tell you something, and I'm going to go real world on you. Say he get another woman and she don't really like the first woman, and I'm going to get rid of you.
Yeah.
So now if you were that other person, to put yourself in a position of harm. Yeah. Because you decided, I'm going to get into this wicked, godless kind of situation. You don't know that other woman is jealous, slashing your tires. I can talk about some Snap shows, okay? Where the woman said, I'm in a relationship, and somebody drove 3 hours and killed her. To get rid of her. Wow. And she didn't even know what was going on. Wow. So why would you put yourself in a situation?
Absolutely.
So God is saying, you don't have a lot right now. It doesn't look like a lot, but don't envy what those people got going on. She might be having a fear for her life. Her car all keyed up. This is what the world does. Okay? So it's like, you don't want to get into that. So just be encouraged. I'm telling the person, I'm going to sit back down and look at everybody. Please be encouraged. She's not winning. He's not winning. He's not.
But the thing about it is, this woman is winning because she's traveling all over the world.
And that's why he wants to. That's why he's trying to
he's
make her
traveling.
Because once he starts putting that seed and breaking her down for who she is, he knows that's when he got her. Then everything else come in, and that's what he's trying to do right now.
That's what he's trying to do.
That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah. So you're winning, and my thing is, people. Sometimes we will win in this world, and we got the next. These people don't have the next world. They don't have any assurance of where they're going, where they're going to be. Is God going to say, good, well done, come on in here? Or he going to say, depart from me, I know you not. So, literally, I know sometimes we focus so much on earth and what we're getting right here, but we got two places to be concerned about, here and the hereafter, okay? And so, when we got that one. We got that one. We might suffer a little bit, but we got here and we got the hereafter. Okay, Trader stood up, walked around a little bit.
And then you think about, and that's just a little bit of, you think about the people that's in a bad situation. Sometimes it's good to be in a bad situation. We don't think that at the time. But if you're in a bad situation, you don't see no way out. And that carrot, and that guy that's dangling that carrot may represent, I'm going to pay your bills, I'm going to get you a car, I'm going to get you some clothes, I'm going to make sure your kids are straight.
Yeah. And the closer you get to it, the farther you get away from God. Yep. And then you get so far, you don't even know how you got to this place. You don't even know how you got to
all type
and then this ain't even a carrot. This ain't even a carrot. This is something you can't, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Sometimes you don't get the carrot. Okay, how many people have heard somebody say, baby girl, I'm going to make sure your toes done needed. And then when you say, well, can I get my toe? Oh, well, let me give you a call back. Let me check with some things and I'll get back to you. And the person don't even call you back.
Or it's some stipulations.
It's some stipulations.
You don't have to do this.
You got to do what you got to do. So sometimes, all of that little, but these are the worldly temptations. These are the things that real singles are dealing with. And especially if they're at it for a long period of time and they're discouraged, they start to even care. When I first read the question, I was like, why is that? I wouldn't even care. Don't come back to me with some craziness like that. But I realized, God began to show me, he said, look, she's tired. She's been alone. She's traveling. She feels great, but she comes to an empty place. God began to reveal to me. She comes back to an empty place. And she was remembering this ex, how they used to have some good times. Because we always remember the good times when it's over.
We remember the crazy.
We don't remember the crazy roller coaster ride we were on. We just remember the good times. And he was like, this is where she is. And so she's dealing with something tickling at her ears, telling her this will be okay. This will be the answer to what you think you need. And you know what I'm saying? So when God began to reveal to me like that, then I began to be like, oh, hey. Then I began to be like, I'm sorry. Then you began to, I'll take it. Then you began to, let's see. You begin to say, well, you know what? Maybe I can make that work. Maybe I can make that work. Don't sit here because the camera. Maybe I can make that work.
We're live right now.
No live.
We're
live right now because we're helping people.
Amen. Testimony. Testify your testimony.
So literally, God began to reveal to me what this person might be going through. Because my first, I didn't want to put it on the camera. So I said, crazy is that I didn't put it. Who would even contemplate? But God had to show me where her mind might be. And I said, okay, she needs encouragement right now. And I'm going to say it, Psalm 37, read the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm going to read it again.
Read the whole thing. Because it's all about commit your way to the Lord. Wait, I say on the Lord. Do not fret for evildoers. It's a whole bunch of things that God is telling us to do as we watch people spread themselves like, oh, I'm making it. I'm living large.
Let's go to an illustration. Real quick. The illustration. Where, have you ever read the book of Job?
Yeah.
At the very beginning, it talks about the angels came. I'll just paraphrase it. The angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came with them. Satan came with them. Can you imagine someone that that they know within their soul they're supposed to do something great, something big, or be somebody, and you at a place mentally or physically or financially where you're struggling, you just don't see how you're going to make it through the next day. If Satan would tempt God and go to Job, who did nothing wrong, he was an uprighteous man, you can only imagine that person that really have something within them, they're really supposed to be somebody, they're really supposed to make a difference in the world, what Satan's going to do to you to just crush you. And now you're at that point. You're at that point where you so far, you don't even realize that you came this far away, and you just this far from getting where you're supposed to be.
But and here come Miss Nonsense talking about, baby girl, come into this situation with me. You know what I'm saying? So you're completely, like you said, you might be that close. And here, I got a temptation for you right here that's going to derail. What did I tell you? It will derail you completely off of where you're supposed to go.
Don't get me started.
Hold on now, that's what Boozy said, didn't it? And y'all turn up people and trap rap people, don't get me started. I don't know the rest of the song because there ain't nothing but a bunch of mumbling. But don't get us started with Christ. You know, there's a bunch of trap rap.
Absolutely. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. What is the evidence
of things not seen. And so, yeah, it's hard. It is hard. I won't say, like I said, when God began to reveal her mind, I was like, okay, she's struggling. She got a lot of people around her probably whispering, okay, well, girl. You know, I had some people, when people came with me, well, girl, what's the problem? YOLO, you know what I'm saying? Just go on, do this thing, baby girl. You know, get what you can get while you can get it. Okay? You know, I was like, yeah, it's like, get what you can get. But we all don't live forever. Just get what you can get when you can get it. So if you're surrounded by that kind of dripping, you know, you begin to consider something that you would never consider.
Otherwise.
Think about that blackout, that riot. Get what you can get. You go into that store to get what you can get, but when you come out, the police right there. Then you got to deal with the consequences that came from you getting what you can get. There's a consequence behind everything.
There's a consequence to that. You know,
my daddy always said that.
I'm done.
There's a consequence behind every decision. But imagine that consequence you take without Christ. That you receive without Christ.
Go ahead.
Just imagine that. Now.
Talk on that right
Just imagine that, because regardless of the decisions that you make, right? If you have a relationship with Christ, regardless, He's going to cover you.
Yeah.
Now, everybody in here is factual, got stories behind being covered. But just imagine you living life making decisions without Christ. Do you know what that brother is about that suffer? You know what type of storm he's going to get into? just with that type of mentality, do you know what he's setting himself up for?
What he's opening himself up to?
Wow.
And so
when you take yourself out of the will or covering of God and say, I'm just going to be out here doing what I want to do. You know, there's a saying that says God takes care of babies and fools. But, you know, I don't feel like being a baby nor a fool. I'd rather walk as a servant of the Most High God. I'd rather say, I'm going to follow you. Now, I still might get pruned because he wants me to be a strong plant in the Lord. I still might go through something. But it cannot be. The scripture says that God laughs at him. He said because he doesn't even see his end coming. Right. God sees it like, okay, you thinking you live in large right now. Yes. You don't know. You know, and I'm going to get old school because, I mean, like I said, I was brought up biblical so much that stories are real in my mind. There was a king in the Old Testament who was having a great party, and he's just having a good time, and he says, you know what, bring me the stuff that we stole from the Israelites. Bring it here because I'm going to drink out of it and toast to our gods, right? And while he was doing it, the vision came of a finger writing on the wall. And he brought his own, you know, what do you call it, magicians and everything, wise men. What is it saying? What is it saying? And they couldn't solve it, so they had to bring, who did they bring? Anybody remember? I think it's Daniel. I think it's Daniel. And Daniel comes out and he says, many, and I don't know the whole, but he says, today your life is required of you. Today. And you know, party broke up because that wasn't what anybody wanted to hear during a turn up, right? They don't want to hear about you about to be taken. He died that very night. He died that very night. God let him like, look, you were found wanting. I balanced and weighed you out. You were found wanting, and your life is required of you tonight. And see, we don't hear a lot of this in the churches today. But the thing of it is the 37th Psalm says, God sees your end and laughs at you because you have no clue.
No clue.
No clue what you're
Chuck hit on some good stuff what he was just talking about. He hit on some really, really, really important thing. And it boils down to what we're really living for. We're living for this world. I mean, because a lot of people just think this is it. Based on their actions.
Yeah, based on their
This is it.
This is it.
Or they think I have time, and toward the end of my time, or whenever that time they think it's going to be, 70, 80, 90, 100 years old, that I got time to get it right.
Make it right.
Don't get me started.
No, you need to start because I'm telling you now. I'm telling you, like the reality is, like they jump on me because they think that I draw people away from Christ because of the way I post. But they know, you know, at the end of the day, like you gotta get right, and God uses different instruments in order to show you through the instruments that He used that you gotta get right.
You gotta get right.
You gotta come to Him, and so to backfire on you. The reason that they're doing this, God was this, God was that, you know, Jesus, there wasn't no Jesus. Jim Carrey talking about Jesus just like Santa Claus was a penis coming down the chimney and stuff like that. Like you look at these people like they're miserable. So, and the thing about it is like you look at them and you look at the outside of them and you look at the inside of them, they're terrible and they're horrible. And they're just trying to find a way. So, of course, they're escaping. The easiest thing to say is Jesus was a white man. Them white people done slaved you away. You know, Jesus was a European. They ain't no Jesus. The hell with Jesus. F Jesus and all of that. Because it's an escape. That's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah. Well, you know, I saw somebody put on Facebook. He says, "How come so many enlightened people are angry?"
Right.
He said, "How come some of you are so angry?" You know what I'm saying? But we were talking about that today. He says, you know, we got a peace, that passes all understanding. Nobody can understand our peace in the midst of things going on, in the midst of things happening. He says, you know, I give my servants sweet sleep. They lay down and go to sleep. They're not worried about everything. A lot of these people, they can't wait till the next day so they can be upset at the latest thing that has happened to... That's not how he says, I'm giving you liberty, life and life more abundantly. So it's like, you know, it's okay to understand how Christianity has been used in the wrong way. It's okay to understand that. But if it's just making you angry all the time, upset, not seeing the grace of God, then there's something wrong with that knowledge. And like in this young lady, you know, you're being pulled away from what you know to be God's way in order to please. And what is that doing? That's just pleasing his ego and whatever his manhood, because he's going to have 2 women. You know, I said this about my first ex-husband.
And he's blocking from her.
Thank you. You know, he knew I was a Christian, and I did marry him knowing he was not a believer, but he became a Jehovah's Witness, because this way he didn't have to do anything that he knew God would require him to do. You know, I was like, so this guy found a convenient belief system that will enable him to have 2 wives. That's all.
Wow.
You really just want 2 doggone wives, but you're going to justify it around this polygamy. And you're going to go back to the Old Testament. I said, if you're going to go back that old, go back to Genesis 3 when Jesus said, here's your wife, and there you go. Okay, go back if you're going to go back.
To the beginning.
Okay, go back to the beginning. But you're going to conveniently stop when they were having a whole bunch of multiple wives. And so that fits what you already want. And you're trying to convince somebody else to be part of that. And so I'm saying to that sister, or anybody else in that situation, please be encouraged. You do not have, there's not a man shortage. God said, is my arm short? Can I not do what I do?
Right.
You know, I neither sleep nor slumber.
Right.
He got you.
Right.
Pray to him and ask him for who's supposed to be in your life. Thank you.
Or not. Don't bring in who is meant for you.
You know what I tell my sisters who say there's a man shortage? I said, well, I remember there was a whole bunch of, there was a belly full of dry bones and he put flesh on it.
Exactly.
Say that again. Say that again, Judy. Say that again.
Any of my friends who want to tell me there's a man shortage, there's 20 women to every man, I said, well, I remember there was a valley full of dry, dead bones. And he was like, he put flesh, sinews, and everything, and brought up a whole army. Okay? A whole army out of those dead people. Let me tell you something else. When Elijah was running to the cave, saying, what's the name trying to kill me? What's the name trying to kill me? There's nobody left but me. What did God say? He said, I got 7,000 that haven't bent their knee. Sometimes we don't even know what God got. We don't know. We sit in the cave going, oh, I'm the only one out here being celibate. Ain't nobody else here. And God came to Elijah, who was a major prophet, and said, I got 7,000. That you don't even know about. Okay? So, come on now. We gotta stay encouraged. We gotta stay encouraged because our God is an awesome God. We can sing a song. Okay? He's an awesome God. He can do it. He can do it. Do not give in to these temptations.
We gotta understand. I'm sorry. I'm just.
No, go ahead. This is back and forth. This is open form.
There is order too.
Okay.
And what I mean by order is talking like, for example, Matthew 6:33.
Okay.
It says, "Seek first the kingdom."
Right.
It didn't say seek first your boyfriend, your job, your neighbor next door, that guy you've been creeping with.
Okay.
Seek first the kingdom of God
first.
And His righteousness, and all things will be added
unto you. And I've told a lot of people that I said, listen.
I'm done.
Get on the journey with God. Some people, this is why we do single savings shares. A lot of people sit in the house, I'm waiting on the boat. One, you got to get out of the house.
Right.
Seeking what God has for you in His righteousness. You're not going to be sitting in a house watching Netflix. You're not going to be doing that.
They take it literally waiting.
Literally.
Yeah, waiting.
But still some things you have to do.
There's some things you have to do. Get out, seek His righteousness, get involved in whatever it is God tells you. This is your assignment. This is what I need you to do. I've gifted you, talented you, gifted you skills and talents. Go do that. And you don't know.
And you won't even have to seek those things. They'll just come to you.
They'll come to you.
They'll just come.
They'll come to you.
You ain't got to go looking.
Thank you.
It's going to be like right here. Boom. Because you're being obedient. You do what He wants you to do.
You were positioned where you were supposed to be.
That's why that cup was
Exactly. And them things come to you in the craziest way. Like, you know it ain't nobody but Him. The way that He came to you. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? That's because He said, I'm the only one going to get the glory out of this. You know, if it was all about how you went to the gym and the clothes you wore and the hair and even your nails, then I'm not getting any glory because I bought you this stuff.
Right.
You think
you did. I went.
Let's go here with that. Because then now, what happens if you lose that job? Is your security wrapped up in the job?
Or is it in me?
And when you lose the job and you can't afford the fancy clothes and a $400 wig and the thing, do you not feel yourself attractive? Do you not feel yourself of value? Because now you don't feel that you can get anybody because you don't have these things.
Right.
So when you rely on God, seeking His kingdom and His righteousness, He's like, I've clothed you in righteousness. A woman who believes through praise is to be praised. Okay?
Let them keep playing with it.
Okay?
I'm sorry. So
Okay.
you about to make me throw the white flag. We think, and I used to think this. I used to think that if I go to an interview and I got that job, it was my mouth that got that job. It was because of who I was that got that job. And now I'm walking in Wells Fargo like I own it. And then when they pulled me out of that office and walked me out of there, I'm looking like, whoa, this is not supposed to happen this way. It's not supposed to be this way. And so little did I realize, God was like, that job means so much to you. You thinking because you got in there and did all that talking, I'm getting ready to take that job away. I'm going to take those people that you used to hang with. I'm going to take them away from you. They ain't going to answer your phone calls. They ain't going to be there to help you. I'm going to humble you so much.
Won't he do it?
Now, see, you're about to walk down my
Won't he do it? Me
testimony
too.
street.
Won't he do it?
That alarm clock. I got up on that alarm. You didn't get up on that alarm clock.
No, you didn't.
You didn't get up because of that alarm clock. And none of us don't know what's going to happen once we walk out of this door. And we don't think that way, though. We just
assume.
We just
assume. We good. We assume.
And the reason I'm saying this, how you went walking down my street, is because in my head, literally at the height of what I was thinking I had accomplished in my career, my testimony, God said, guess what? And He actually told me ahead of time. He said, well, you will not work for corporate America again. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm living large, doing what I need to do. I got this, I got that. I'm raising these kids, blah, 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 blah. I'm single-handedly, I'm good. And my health crashed. And I couldn't get a job. I went to Voc Rehab, went through all the testing. They said, go home and be a homemaker. I said, what are you talking about? I've been working since I'm 17. Don't we have people like that? I've been working since I'm 17. I've been doing. Started paper route and all of this. And God said, guess what? I'm going to lay you in the bed for a year and a half. And the only way the bills are going to get paid is because I will pay them. Not you and your big old bank account, which is now zero and they closed it. Okay? You are not your bank account. You are not your job. You are not the clothes in your closet. I had to lay in that bed and watch people who came behind me go above me, making more money, driving them cars, talking about blah, 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 blah. And you talk about humbling.
What?
When every month the money coming in didn't even equal what needed to go out, and unless God made a way, unless God made a way, you didn't know how. You didn't end up on the street sleeping in your car. You didn't know how the phone was still on. You didn't know how the electricity was still on. You know, I remember laying there one day, I was too sick to even go to the pantry, and the man next door was a Muslim, said, you know, I got this turkey at my job. If we don't eat this bird, can I give it to you? We're there with the turkey for a week. Okay? So it was like, no, you're going to find out everything you get. It's from me.
It's from you.
And I mean, literally humbled me to the point now that when I say I have anything, do I not? I say, thank you, Jesus.
It's such a blessing just to have the little things that we have.
Little things. And as He's elevated me and changed my whole life, then I can say, this is nothing but the house that God built. It's not the house I built.
Tell me, I went for this. My boy called it sugar to you know what.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I've been there, had a nice house, and then sleeping in my Jeep, going to Bojangles to wash up before anybody got there. So nobody was, I already been.
Hello? So I mean, literally, this is when, as singles, I want singles to understand this. Let God do what He got to do in your life. Because if you start to think as well, because, you know, I lost that 40 pounds, and now I got this 6-pack. And if you think it's because you got the better education and your bank account's bigger, that's going to attract a mate. That's going to keep a mate. That's going to give you the mate of your heart, which really is your outlet. It doesn't have anything.
They're going to be out.
That's why we out.
Right. So it's like, you know, we encourage the singles. This is about God first. You know, like you said, I love you. My father used to be there all the time because every time, my dad was funny. Every time we came home talking about something exciting, the guy would either say, "What would it profit a man if you gain the whole world and lose his soul?" Or he would say, you know, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God." And I'm like, "Dad, I got an A on my test, and I got this, and now I can get, and now I can." And he was like, let me change your direction. God allowed you to be able to retain those facts.
So that you can get that.
So that you can get that A. Because there's a child your same age that's sitting in a hospital. You know, God has a child that can't.
Or take you for that job that you thought that was yours to give you a better job.
My resume was just so. And my interview, I went to interview skills, and so and you know, literally, it's not I. He works through us. And if we allow ourselves to be willing vessels, then he'll bring those things. Like you said, all those things will be added. You know,
all things are working for
your good. All your things are working for you. That's his favorite song. I don't know. We don't want any more questions, or we good? Because I'm just like, woo! I'm about to run around the neighborhood.
I know you got a lot of good questions on there. So
well, we can save them for another time. We can save them for another time. I think everybody is just in a good high space. And usually, like especially when this happens, we close in prayer. And we just, cover each other in prayer. Because like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. We hope out.
So we need Pastor Trey to cover us in prayer.
You can go deep in prayer.
He did me last time.
We did. We got LaShonda.
They told us, so we're going to let Shonda go.
We do a prayer call every Friday. We pray every Friday. But, every Friday morning.
Wow.
But, but you don't
No. You sound.
Yes.
I'm not big on words. But my heart is big.
That's all we need. Let the Spirit move.
All right. Here we go. Heavenly Father, wait a minute. Let me take this off. I should have had this off. I forget about I need a haircut. So, Heavenly Father, we come to you just say thank you for everything. You will sit high and you see low. You know each and one of our hearts and what we need. Not what we want, but what we need. We ask that you just come in and just bless each and every last one of us that's standing in this space. Cleanse us, take everything that's not supposed to be there and just remove it.
Yes.
Help us to continue to seek your face and your words and follow you and let you just be our guide. All things are possible through you, Heavenly Father. I just ask you personally just to work within me. I have some things that I'm struggling with, and I know you're able to do it. And sometimes I get a little low. Sometimes I get a little down, and I just need you to just come in and just have a little more patience with me and don't give up on me. Search each and one of these people that stand here today, their families, their friends. Chuck, following. Touch somebody out there that's lost. Bring them closer to you. And we'll give you all the glory. In your most precious name we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Listen, people.
Yeah, we're going to.
Okay? You really need to be here. You ain't really want to go to the press box 5400 NC Tavern. You ain't want to go to Epic Center. You ain't want to go to, give me another one, Apostrophe. All of these places, the old I can't say nothing about that. I ain't going to say nothing about that. But anyway, the point is, man, every Friday we do this at 7:30. Pop up. We're going to start to bring caterers in to, showcase their food, bring their food so you can support, businesses, catering businesses and things like that. So we're going to add more to the table for you singles to come as you see God is working, God is in the atmosphere. It's cool to be a Christian. Amen. It's cool to be a Christian social media.
And you ain't gotta hide.
You ain't gotta hide that you love God.
Dim your light, no.
Yeah, there are people out there that's really trying to act like they're atheists, but really trying to find a way to get closer to Christ. What up, baby? Big Trip. Peace.
We love